With the release of the Sith Troopers this week, Star Wars fans have gone into a frenzy of speculation. Most fans think these Sith Troopers will be loyal to Emperor Palpatine, but an official source is saying that the Sith Troopers are only loyal to Kylo Ren and the Knights of Ren. In this video, I want to go over a theory I have on how this will all play out, and Kylo Ren will find himself at odds with the Sith Troopers, the Knights of Ren, and a resurrected Emperor Palpatine. We do it for the fans. Today's shout out goes to Sheep Cow. Indeed, the Captain Cardinal was the first Red Stormtrooper before the Sith Troopers came out. Stay to the end of the video where we will ask another nerd card question. What's up, everybody? It's Josh. Welcome back to the Den and happy Star Wars Sunday to you. Oh, and if you're not watching this video on Sunday, that's totally cool, but you should know we drop sweet Star Wars videos every Sunday. All right, so let's get right into this. I did a video along with a lot of other YouTubers this week when the Sith Troopers were officially revealed on StarWars.com. And I, like many Star Wars fans, postulated that these red Sith Troopers would be loyal to Emperor Palpatine and not Kylo Ren. However, as many of you pointed out to me on social media and other channels, Jason Ward, who of course is the notorious Star Wars reporter, leaker, scooper from MakingStarWars.net, has actually put in his stuff that he has heard that these Sith Stormtroopers are only loyal to Kylo Ren and the Knights of Ren. Now, immediately after I heard this, I started doing like mental gymnastics and speculative theory crafting when it came to Star Wars, and I figured out a way in which this will all come to pass. In fact, I think I'm starting to actually put together what the structure of this film might be based on some of the leaks we've had and based on what you see in the trailer. As we get more official information and better leaks, I'll be able to craft more theories and sort of figure out how the film will lay out, but I've actually got a pretty interesting one already. Now, if you've been watching the channel for some time, you will know that my current theory is that the First Order and Snoke were actually acting under the control of Palpatine, or more like under the direction of Palpatine this entire time. And we know very little about the First Order, their origins, what we think they are doing, but we've been told that we're going to get more of that information in Star Wars Episode 9, that specifically the origin of the First Order will be explained. Now, you can watch the theory video I have about Palpatine and Snoke, but basically I believe that the contingency plan, which was this thing that Palpatine devised before his death at the Battle of Endor, that the contingency plan was all about resurrecting the Empire and resurrecting the Emperor. So go check that theory out if you're interested, but suffice it to say, the crux of this theory all rests upon that being true, that Palpatine was essentially guiding the First Order since its origin. And now that we have that background information established, I want to start this theory by looking at this scene from The Last Jedi. This is, of course, after the throne room fight where Rey is talking about saving the fleet and Kylo Ren is just walking up on the corpse of Snoke, and obviously he's really emotional, but he says this.
It's time to let old things die. Snoke, Skywalker, the Sith, the Jedi, the rebels, let it all die.
And a lot of people are bringing this up. I mean, the fact that he says it's time to let old things die, and the fact that he name drops the Sith is really interesting, because why would someone who says it's time to let the Sith die have Sith Stormtroopers? Well, I think it's worth mentioning here that this is an intimate moment between Rey and Ben Solo, aka Kylo Ren. There's no one around. They've literally just defeated Snoke. There's nobody there. Kylo is literally speaking his mind, maybe speaking his true mind for the first time in a long time, as we believe that Snoke was sort of inside his head, manipulating him. Now, this is the join me moment. Clearly, Kylo Ren wants Rey to join him, and I think there is a romantic element here, but even if you don't buy into that exactly, he at the very least wants her to join him for the power she has. I mean, it's explicitly stated in the Jason Fry novelization of The Last Jedi that Kylo knew he could not defeat Snoke or the Praetorian Guards without the help of Rey. He knew he couldn't defeat them on his own. It's like the whole point of that scene. They needed to work together to vanquish that darkness. So the question is, why would he even say this? Why would he name drop the Sith? So let's look at what he actually says here. He says it is time to let old things die. Snoke, Skywalker, the Sith, Jedi, the rebels, all of it. Now we know why he would say Snoke, we know why he would say Skywalker, we even know why he would say Jedi, as he had been sort of brought up to be a Jedi. And of course we know why he would say the Rebels, but we have no indicator of why he would say the Sith. Okay, now this is where the theory really starts to get fun. Now remember, we established that I believe that the First Order was acting under the direction of Palpatine. Now a big reason why this theory works is because the contingency and the remnants of the Empire, who was basically everybody left loyal to Palpatine, yeah, they all sailed out into the unknown regions after the Battle of Jakku. They eventually meet up with Snoke, and we don't really know exactly what happens there, but eventually they all re-enter this galaxy as the First Order. And I think the First Order was always trying to resurrect Palpatine, and I think that the Knights of Ren were always an organization or an arm of the First Order that was dedicated to the Force and dedicated to the Emperor. I mean, let's consider the fact that the Knights of Ren literally modeled themselves after ancient Sith. The weapons and the helmet and armor that they use, they are either actual ancient Sith artifacts or they are designed to look like ancient Sith artifacts. I mean, Kylo's crossguard saber is of an ancient Sith design, but they're not Sith, right? I mean, this is just like the Inquisitori. So the Inquisitors were this group of people that were Force sensitive, that did use lightsabers, but were not considered Sith. They worked for the Sith, they had reverence for the Sith, particularly Darth Vader, but they were not Sith. And so I think in the same way that the Inquisitors were this arm of Force-sensitive beings that worshipped and worked for the Sith, so too are the Knights of Ren. The Knights of Ren are not Sith, but they are working for the Sith. In this case, the dead Emperor Palpatine. And so by extension of that, the Sith Troopers, who Jason Ward is saying are only loyal to Kylo Ren and the Knights of Ren, those guys are literally just for the Sith. Like, they are working for the Sith, they're working for the Emperor, and because there's no Sith around, the Knights of Ren and Kylo Ren, because he is the master of the Knights of Ren, these are the only people that the Sith Troopers answer to. And so if that was what the Knights of Ren were doing, and that's what the First Order was all about, then the context of that enlightens us to why Kylo Ren would say it is time for the Sith to end. He had been on that mission his whole life. That was the whole thing with the First Order, what Snoke wanted, what everybody wanted, but it's not what Kylo wanted. Kylo wants to forge his own path. This is why he says it is time for the Sith to end. Now here's where the theory really picks up in The Rise of Skywalker. So what I think is going to happen is that the Knights of Ren return from the void. This is something we've been hearing rumored in the leaks. So they're basically going to return from a journey or a pilgrimage, and they will have information or a relic that will help them resurrect Palpatine. And when they show up, there'll be tension between Kylo Ren and the Knights of Ren and the Sith Troopers, because I think Kylo will know that he can't just turn on them right then and there, because they'll destroy him. I mean, the Knights of Ren are likely pretty strong and powerful, and if they truly have the Sith Troopers backing them up, and Kylo's all like, hey, I don't think I want to resurrect the dead Sith Emperor, I don't think the Sith Troopers or the Knights of Ren are going to like that. And so there'll be conflict and tension there, but I don't think Kylo Ren will outright turn on them immediately. Now, I also think this is why Kylo's helmet gets reforged. I believe that the Knights of Ren, because they worship the Sith, they're all masked, it's a big deal for them to remain masked and to remain with these artifacts upon them. And so I think that when they arrive, they'll be like, yo, Kylo, where's your mask? And he'll be like, it was destroyed in battle. Then they will go reforge that and sort of demand that he puts the mask back on. I'm imagining it's like a point of honor for them, and it will also be considered like a point of loyalty to the Order. Kylo Ren will put this mask back on. Now, I can't exactly place how all of these elements will take place in the film, but it's rumored that Palpatine will be resurrected in generally the middle of the movie. So we won't have to wait that long. He'll be back, and then he'll be the big bad, and essentially Ben and Rey will have to team up once again. Now, I personally think this is going to happen during the Flash fights, and they'll see different moments throughout the Skywalker saga, mainly how the Skywalkers were all used and manipulated by Palpatine, which will further turn Kylo off to this whole thing with the Knights of Ren and the Emperor. So he'll go from no mask, his own mission, to, oh, here's the mission, put your mask back on. Then he eventually realizes the truth, takes the mask back off, and this is when we will see him fighting against the Knights of Ren. Like, we're pretty dang sure that in the trailer, he's fighting against the Knights of Ren, and there are white stormtroopers on his side. And so this is where I think we'll see this conflict between the First Order, and you will have Kylo Ren, maybe General Hux, and a lot of the normal stormtroopers versus the Knights of Ren and the Sith stormtroopers and the resurrected Palpatine. And this is how Jason Ward could be correct, and everybody could be correct in how they're going to be loyal to the Emperor. Jason says he's hearing that the Sith Troopers are only loyal to Kylo Ren and the Knights of Ren. That's because the Knights of Ren are all designed to help resurrect the Sith Emperor. And Kylo's not going to be down with that, especially after he realizes all this new information after the Flash fights, in my opinion. So he will turn, and that is when we will get Kylo Ren at odds with the Sith Emperor, the Sith Troopers, and the Knights of Ren. Should make for some really spicy conflict, and I am pretty hyped on it. So that's the theory, guys. That's how I see Kylo's arc going in the movie. That is how I think he will come to be at odds with all of these different people, and most importantly, the sweet new Sith Troopers. Let me know what you think about this theory in the comments section below. All right, now let's check the nerd card before we get out of here. I want to know, what is the name of the planet that Maz Kanata's castle is on? Neutral spot in the Outer Rim. What is the name of that planet? Answer that question in the comment section below. As I always say, I hope you're having an awesome and a nerdy day, and I'll see you in the next video.